दी एनर्जी एंड रिसोर्स इंस्टीट्यूट ने 8 राज्यों में इन्वायरमेंटल इश्यूज को लेकर किए गए अपने सर्वे को आज लोगों से साझा किया। बढ़ते शहरीकरण और उसकी बदलती तस्वीर ने हमारे लोकल और ग्लोबल एनवायरनमेंट दोनों पर गहरा असर डाला है। शहरों की बढ़ती आबादी वहां की जमीन के साथ साथ दबाव डालती है वहां पर मौजूद साफ पानी की उपलब्धता पर, उसकी क्वालिटी पर, वहां की हवा पर, वहां की बायोडाइवर्सिटी पर और वहां पर मौजूद अर्बन ग्रीन स्पेस पर। टेरी दी एनर्जी रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट ने एनवायरमेंटल सर्वे 2014 की फाइंडिंग्स को रिलीज किया। टेरी की ओर से किया गया ये एनवायरमेंटल सर्वे लोगों के बीच एनवायरनमेंट को लेकर जागरूकता पैदा करना था। इस साल यह सर्वे 8 शहरों दिल्ली, मुंबई, कोयम्बटूर, गुवाहाटी, इंदौर, जमशेदपुर, कानपुर और पुणे में किया गया। इस एनवायरमेंटल सर्वे की फाइंडिंग की रिलीज की शुरुआत टेरी के डायरेक्टर जनरल DR के पचौरी के ऑडियो वीडियो पैगाम से हुई।
I'd like to emphasize that if we want to bring about improvement in environmental quality, then the foundation on which any such effort would rest would be on the awareness of the public. And I hope this survey serves the purpose of bringing about the awareness on the basis of which citizens and the residents of cities will start taking action themselves.
इसके बाद इस सर्वे से मिली जानकारियों पर पैनल डिस्कशन भी हुआ। इस पैनल डिस्कशन के मॉडरेटर बने मिस्टर प्रणय गुप्ते, जो एक वरिष्ठ इंटरनेशनल जर्नलिस्ट और ऑथर हैं।
And this is the second year in a row that TERI has asked me to come and moderate a panel on the environmental survey. What is it about this survey, if anything, that surprised you?
One aspect which was really surprising was that, I mean, in a lot of cities, as the presentation also clearly indicated, that people have perceived some improvement in water-related services, and which is actually a good news.
Well, on that basis, can I ask anyone in the audience to ask a question on the basis of what the gentleman said?
I find that people are willing to pay for water. It's the most surprising thing for me, at least in Indian context.
Why do you find that surprising?
Because people want subsidized water. People want water to be supplied to them free. And this is the Indian perception. Across the cities, across the country. And when people are willing to pay for water, so it's...
But what surprised you about this survey?
I'm Shamila Mani. I'm working as professor at the National Institute of Urban Affairs. I work in the area of waste management. So one of the first things that struck me was that I expected Pune. You know, we've heard so much about Pune, and that they are having a whole gamut of waste management projects. But you showed that they had said no. The red band was so big. They said that they didn't know that they were there was waste collection door to door. That was very surprising. In terms of water, I was very surprised that Coimbatore, you said that didn't know that water was subsidized because they have this Sirutoli project, and in fact they have been talking about water in all forums, many of them, and the Bhavani pollution is very well known.
What do you have to say to that? The whole yes, the question of subsidies versus identifiable payment methods.
You asked an interesting question. Is it that in collecting subsidy, I'm collecting with my right hand what I'm actually paying with my left hand? The point is that given an appropriately progressive taxation system, the persons who pay the subsidy are not identical to the ones receiving the subsidy. So you can have a progressive subsidy system and a progressive taxation system which is completely consistent with equity. But I'm not sure that we have that system in India, because there are many, many imperfections in our fiscal system. Now the question is that, is there a moral imperative that the rich, quote unquote, should subsidize the poor. I would say that the moral imperative does exist with reference to certain goods and services which are essential for human beings to lead a decent level of existence. And among these I would consider water, I would consider food, I would consider shelter, I would consider healthcare, I would consider education. And it would be appropriate in my view on moral grounds to have a system of progressive taxation, progressive subsidies by which the rich subsidize the poor. But generally subsidizing all consumption of the poor, I would have some very serious reservations about that. So very briefly, the answer to your question is that should drinking water be subsidized? It should be subsidized to the poor. They should be offered lifeline rates, which should be paid for either by cross subsidy by the rich, that they are paying more than lifeline rates, or the rich should pay from general tax kitty in which they pay more into the tax net.
Okay, so this is the third time that TERI has done this environmental survey. We started this exercise 2 years back, but this survey has been by far the most extensive. We interviewed about more than 11,000 people across 8 urban agglomerates of the country from all the regions of the country. And therefore what we find here can be sort of representative of what the average urban citizen feels about the environment. If we look at people's perceptions on different environmental parameters, we find that across the cities, everyone perceived degradation or deterioration in air quality. So as compared to other parameters, the parameters which stand out where people across the board felt that things have become worse over time are air quality, the diversity of bird species, as well as green cover. We got very mixed responses when it came to groundwater and surface water, but these are of course very sort of average trends. If we look at city-specific details, then you will find that in some cities, even the issue of drinking water availability and quality, which the aggregate survey seems to be saying is not too bad, but if we look at some specific cities like Guwahati and Jamshedpur, for instance, there the number of people who thought that drinking water quality and availability has fallen over time is much more than people who thought that these parameters have become better over time. अगर हम लोगों को सही संकेत नहीं देंगे कि किस पानी की क्या कीमत है, तो ये तो ऑब्वियस है कि लोग उसका सही इस्तेमाल नहीं करेंगे. जो भी चीज़ आपको ज़्यादा सस्ती मिलेगी, आप उसका ज़्यादा यूज़ करेंगे.